Okay, this is number 18. These problems are becoming more involved, but they want me to verify something. And that's an identity to verify. So you need to pick one side, show it's the other side. And what are they telling me? X, Y, and Z are in a geometric progression such that one's a pth term, qth term, rth term. The fact that they're using the letter R over here makes it a little complicated for me. So I'm going to say the common ratio is R. I have to use an uppercase letter. And the first term of this geometric is going to be A. So what I want to do is, go through the work. The first thing to do is write down what the terms are. So X is the pth term. So that's going to be A, the first term, R, the common ratio to P minus 1. Y, and make sure I'm saying that, is the qth term. So that's going to be A, R, Q minus 1, and Z was that rth term. So these are all making sense to me. All right, then someone says, what are you going to do over here? I'm looking around for things to do. So I certainly want to see if I can see x to the q minus r. And I don't see it, but I can get it there by raising both sides of that first equation to the q minus r. And that's relatively simple. You raise a to the q minus r, and then the r, which is already raised to p minus 1, that exponent would be multiplied by q minus r. That was pretty reasonable. And then I got to get this thing over here. That's y to the p minus r. I see that right over here. I raise both sides of the y equation to the p minus r. And that looks relatively simple to do. And then I got to get this one over here, which is z to the p minus q. All right? Now I notice there's an error over here. So what I need to do is I need to cross this off, and I need to edit my notes. You're not going to see it in your notes, by the way, but they didn't want z to the p minus r. What did they want? They wanted z to the p minus q. And what would that give you? A to the p minus q. Again, I'm just using that z equation times r, and that would be raised to the r minus 1 times p minus q. All right, so I made an error over there. So the next thing you do is you multiply it out. But someone says, what do you mean you multiply it out? I'm choosing the left side. This is the left side, which is the qx minus r. I see that, times the z p minus q. And if you multiplied it out, I want to point out what you're multiplying out. You're multiplying out, and I'm going to point this out to you, this times this. All right? Now, that's not really that difficult to do, but it does require knowledge of, basic exponent rules. So if I did that, I did the a's, right? So let's write this down. Let's make sure they got it written down correctly, first of all. I'm going to look at this, and let's see if that's true. A to the q minus r, p minus 1, q minus r, good. And did I copy the right one down over here? And I'm looking at this over here, by the way. So a to the p minus q, yep. R to the r minus 1, p minus q. Yeah, looking good, all right? So how do you do that? And certainly it's not a bad problem to do, but you got to do some exponent. And I got to do, the exponents on the a first, and that's q minus r, right, plus p minus q. Now what would that give me? Well, the q's would disappear. You'd get p minus r. So I'm definitely seeing that. Now, is that what I wanted to see? Well, what's the y? That's the y, right? And that's, let's see where the coefficient of y is. And that's, p minus r. But then I'm looking at this, and I'm wondering how they got that. All right, so I'll write down what they're doing. And what they're doing is adding the exponents together. And the exponent would be, let's take a look at that. So the exponent there would be, whoops, sorry about that. I got to do this now. P minus 1, Q minus R, plus R minus 1, and then it's going to be P minus Q. Wow. Well, I want to point out, I do see that written down. And what they're trying to verify is that this thing will lead to what we expect it to be, which is going to be Q minus 1, P minus R. Let's see if that's true. Where they do, they multiply it out. Let me go through it step by step. I definitely get the PQ minus PR minus Q plus R. That comes from the first multiplication. Let's do the second multiplication. You get PR minus QR minus P plus Q. All right? Let me get my red pen out, and I'm going to start canceling things off over here. And I'm going to say the PR disappears. The Q disappears. And let's see what we end up with. We end up with PQ plus R minus P minus QR. I definitely see that. Now someone says, oh, you rearranged it. I rearranged it so I see the Q minus 1. So I put the PQ with the P and the R with the QR. And then I factored those things individually. Again, this line's good. Factor the P out from the first two terms and a minus R out from the second two terms. Let's see if that's good. PQ minus 1, and that would give you, plus R minus QR. It looks good. It really looks good. Then factor out the Q minus 1 and P minus R, and we show what we need to show, all right? So again, it kind of, I'm not going to say difficult, but it was tedious, all right? Now I do need to make corrections on my notes, and the correction's going to come over here. Let me point this out to you. I need to correct this line over here in the notes. This line is in error. This is an error, and I got to correct that. You're not going to see that, though, but I'm glad I caught that as I'm working through my key. Thank you.